Hey guys, those are just clips from Expedition 33, a game that has taken the video gaming world by storm. But we're not here to talk about gameplay or anything like that. Just thought you guys would be interested in seeing how the game actually looks. It's basically like Dark Souls but turn-based. And just like the creators say, nothing about the game makes sense. Right? Nothing about the game makes sense. It's turn-based. It's like based on. It was inspired by Final Fantasy. And it's difficult, but it's easy. It's easy, but it's difficult. The story is pretty engaging and pretty awesome. The combat system is very intricate. The leveling up system, and honestly, the world itself is just a very fascinating game. So pretty awesome game. But aside from that, there's a message in the game that kind of reminds me of why I do this and why I make content. There's people that have been asking me, like you're an engineer, you could be doing something better with your time, or hey, like you go through so much verbal abuse online, or you your privacy or whatever, that. And people tend to honestly make sense that all those things make sense 100%. It's 100% makes sense that hey, someone would talk or say these things to me because they're right. There is better things people can do with their time than getting you know their privacy affected, their their privacy affected, their being humiliated, being whatever, and all that stuff, and even trying to have a semblance of a normal life or trying to project a normal life onto your content, right? Like there was a time where I thought, hey, this girl on X really likes me, but no, they just want clout and attention. So it's like I've tried to use I try to apply being normal to the people online like me. I'm like, oh, they're like me. They're normal. And the people I've worked with, the women I've reached out to in the past, and all that, they just all showed me that, if you're here in this space, most likely there's something really wrong with you. So despite all these things, I tend to still trudge on, whether it be, hey, I just work with someone that's crazy and all that stuff, or I just got my privacy attacked, or, I just got made fun getting things done, right? But for the most part, you know, why is it that we do this in general? It's not as glamorous as people think, right? Like I'm not for the amount of headache that sometimes I have to go through, sometimes, and the time it takes to get all this stuff going, and how discouraging it could be at sometimes. There's still a reason I do this, right? And for at first, being honest with myself, like, oh, I just want the attention in the cloud, or I just want to be told I'm right and I'm awesome. And maybe those are like maybe 5% of it. I am human after all. But truly, uh, there is a kind of thought process that is similar to the game Expedition 33 as to why you're going out to try to defeat this godlike thing that keeps erasing people and killing people. So basically, without any spoilers, the premise of the game is that you are living in a kind of mirror world of or Paris, where called Lumiere, where there is in the distance, hundreds of miles away, there is a giant godlike creature sitting, and there's a number painted on a giant monolith. And every year that number goes down by one, and anyone that age disappears forever. Right? So if you're 34 and the number 33 gets written on the monolith, everyone that's 34 or older disappears, dies, just withers. Basically a Thanos slam. Like literally, they just turn into flowers and all that stuff. So that's the thing. That's the premise of the game. Now, every year, before when this happens, the people set out a group of soldiers and scientists and travelers, adventurers, whoever, set out to go figure out why this is happening and to try to maybe defeat the the paintress, which is the woman that keeps writing the number where everything gets erased, right? So the attitude of these adventurers or these people isn't so much like, hey, we're gonna finally defeat the paintress or anything like that. There is a semblance of almost hopelessness in the game where it's just like, yeah, it started at 100 and it's expedition 33. Like it's been 67. They've tried for 67 years. Humans have been trying to figure out why this is happening and trying to destroy the painter so they can finally be free, right? And when it gets to expedition 33, you kind of get a feeling like, why are you even trying? And then even in the game, it addresses this. It says like, hey, why even try to save Lumiere and the world if and not spend the last year of your life trying to spend time with loved ones? But then at the same time, there's this other thought process where, hey, if I don't do something about this, humanity is going to be wiped out for good, right? So there's your conundrum. Should I be selfish and spend time enjoying the last parts of in the last pieces of my life, or should I go out and investigate and figure out and maybe defeat the paintress in the end? Who knows? And every human gets to decide because some are just like, no, I want to go out and figure this out. Why are humans every year getting erased by age? And then there's some people like, hey, I got a wife and I gotta want to spend the last couple years with my kid, and I don't want to, spend my time fighting a battle that's not worth fighting. Now, when the adventurers set out to go figure out, usually they're never heard from again. They just go. It's like the Bermuda Triangle. They go set out on a ship, and then they're never heard from again. Maybe a story or two will get back, but they never kind of people don't know. So we keep throwing human bodies, human lives at this problem, and nothing seems to be working. So where do you go from here? So the main character says this phrase often throughout the game, and he says that the expeditions isn't so much to solve the problem of why everyone's dying, right? It's to understand, and ultimately what he says is for those who come after, right? It's not so much as, hey, we don't even know if we can defeat the paintress. We don't even know if we can solve this problem, but we want to set the next expedition up for success. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. It's essentially all of this red pill stuff is to set people up for success. And none of any of the expeditions that came before in the game really left a guide on what exactly to do. Right? You see where I'm going with this. All of them left clues, stories, like what they were experiencing, what they saw. And as you go through the game, you find these reports later around the world, and you're just like, wait a minute, like this is this is a clue as to what happens here or what happened to these people, whether they got massacred by the local Nevrons, which are like the monsters, or whether they, fell off a cliff, or hey, this is not sturdy. So every single one of these reports kind of helped the next expedition get a little bit farther and a little get closer to defeating the paintress. None of them had big dreams of even defeating her. It was just like, hey, we're gonna set up. We're basically laying down our lives, ready to die, to give the next expedition a fighting chance. And yes, there is a feeling of losing hope because when you've gone through so many expeditions, right, and no idea how close you are to getting to solve this problem, you tend to be like, hey, this is just a routine thing. We're just gonna give our lives for nothing because but then you realize as you travel the world how much groundwork the other expeditions put. Like there's these things where like you vault like you vault across cliffs and canyons. These little what do you call them? Like you press square and you vault across a canyon or across a cliff so you can get to the other side, right? And these circular little things that are like hooks and stuff so you can do those things, right? And you get to the end of the game and you realize like that was an expedition that spent almost their whole expedition setting up those little hooks that way you can travel and get closer, and then they finally got wiped out, right? So that's basically why we do this. It's because it's not to save the world, right? It's more to like set the next group of guys that need this for success so they can figure out what they want to do, right? Like yes, everyone like every expedition started out the same. They started out, hey, we want to defeat the Painters and humans stop dying, right? And get a little bit of answers. But um at some point they realized this is not happening. I can't save the world. Like this is too powerful. We're out of food, we're out of soldiers, we're out of whatever. So how about we set the next expedition up with some tools, whether it be a hook so they can vault across canyons and stuff like that, or hey, a warning about the local monster that's going to kill all of you guys if you don't pay attention, or hey, you can use your magic to do this. And essentially that's what the red pill was. It was never, hey, here's how you defeat the Painters. It's like, hey, we've set up, here's a guide to defeating the local monster. Good luck. We don't know what you want to do. Like, we don't know what's going to happen after us, but it's over. So we're just going to lay the groundwork. Right. And that's essentially what the Red Pill is. It was never about saving the world. It was about giving guys the tools so they can figure it out themselves. Right. And yeah, there may be a guy one day that'll save the world, Captain Red Pill, right? That he'll save the world and do everything right and figure out how to get women to stop being the way they are and just like us. But it doesn't seem like it's coming anytime soon, right? So instead of um, building towards that, how about we pave the way for the next generation, right? And you may think, well, you know, we already have guys that do that. We have plenty of writings, but the internet's disappearing. Every day there's one red pill post or one red pill article that was useful or field report that's gone, slowly but surely. So we have to make new stuff. And some essays stand the test of time. But all this stuff, right, is going away slowly. It's eroding, it's getting forgotten. Websites that archived it are losing money and it can't maintain it anymore. Essentially, it's disappearing. So we have to leave clues around the world for men to like pick up. And when you're going through this game, um, none of the clues left behind or the reports left behind are like all encompassing. They just tell you, hey, there's a monster over there that wiped out my whole team, and I'm gonna die, and I don't know what to do, but just letting you guys know this happens. At least hey, now I'm cautious. Now I know something bad happened, and I can see why there's a pile of bodies over there. I understand. Whether it be a warning, whether it be a strategy, whether it be literally a tool like hooks you can pull vault and get to a boss or get to the other side of the stage or the map. So it really is the motto of the game is the motto of red pill content creators. It's not for me. I've already lived my life. I've already done a lot of things and I still have a lot of life to live, but I've already kind of seen the beginning, um, the middle and the end of how like this whole red pill journey is. I'm complete. Like obviously I'm always gonna be maturing and learning. But now I feel like, hey, it's not about me, it's for those who come after. So it's just, hey, at the end of this, will I be the type of person that at least when I got into this space, I helped somebody. And hopefully I did. And it's not for me to know because each expedition had no idea if the next one was going to be helped by their effort. They just did the best they could, right? And that's the thing here. They never got that payback. They never got that whole "thank you, you saved my life." They never will because it wasn't about um, it wasn't about them getting the adoration and the respect, right? It was about them um, realizing that hey, they had lost. They couldn't defeat the paintress. So let's pass on information enough so when the next people come, they can get a little bit closer or maybe get the job done. And so no recognition. So yes, it's nice to get recognition, right? But that's not the point. The point was never for you to like come into space and get told how smart and awesome you were. Even though it's nice, it's usually just hey, I got some information, I got to put it out there because it could help, and it helped me tremendously. And everyone comes here eventually because they want to get laid, whether within the confines of a serious relationship or being single. They want to get laid, right? That's the catalyzer. That's what that the catalyst. Sorry, to get guys to come to the red pill. They're lacking something in life. So they come here and it's a journey. I would say, yes, it is a journey because you go through a lot of phases and steps, and guys have gone exactly through what you've gone through. So they left behind work, and some of those guys are still around, but, Royce, he left behind work. Roosh, even though he went crazy, he left behind work, you know, Guys that didn't die, but just disappeared. They left behind work. Guys that are still doing stuff, but are ready to retire and move on. They left behind work, and that's the work is there to help you. And it's not about adoration. It's not about like, hey, thank me for how awesome I am, or I'm like not trying to be like a messianic figure. Like, and that's the problem with these like Homaths and the Pat Stedmans and all these people in the world is that they're desperate for that validation. They're more focused on, hey, does my stuff work, and will I get uh, thanked, and will I change the world, rather than, hey, this is what I know and it helped me. I think this information should be put out there, right? And that's what ends up happening. It's like you go on YouTube and you're trying to make a guide for a game to help guys through a very difficult boss. And you're more worried on beating the other guy's views and clicks. Um, and then compare that to a Reddit post from some anon guy that's just say, hey guys, this is what I did. And then having hundreds of guys say, hey, thank you. That actually worked, dude. Like, wow, thanks. And it's just this little Reddit post versus a guy who's like fluffing up his whole YouTube video or saying like, buy this, do this course. And then he criticizes the developers of the game. And then he criticizes like the, you know, the boss design. And then he criticizes like uh, how long the boss should take. And then the guy read a post like, "Hey guys, I know it sucks, but here's what I did, and don't forget to do this and try it out. It worked for me." Like he's not saying, "Hey, you have to do it." He's saying, "Hey, this worked for me." And that's the same thing with your women problem. Like I had a certain method, but I live in a city. I have a different attitude towards women based on culture and all that stuff. Obviously, we all kind of come to the same conclusion, but I come from a different walk of life. So be like me, it worked for me is not really helpful to anyone. It'll help an incredibly small part of the population that is like me. But that's why we say the red pill isn't about telling men what to do. It's about giving men tools so they can get what they want. And if I'm Expedition 34 and my expedition's over and I'm done, the fight is over, whether I die or whatever happens, right? Metaphorically speaking, right? Um, I want to leave Expedition 33 with some good stuff, right? Whether it be a box of swords, weapons, whether it be some knowledge on how to defeat a boss, whether it be, hey, a way to deal with grief of losing fellow people in your expedition, whatever tool you have. And that's ultimately the point. And that struck me in the game hard because I'm like, that's what it is, right? And I really thought, like, yes, cloud is fun. Yes, being recognized is pretty interesting. It doesn't give you dopamine. Being recognized does not give you dopamine. However, it does. It's an interesting experience, but also I kind of know why I do this now. It's because a lot of us didn't have the tools, or a lot of us were very lost, and we know the feeling of having no way out. Right? You have a problem, and everyone's telling you the wrong thing. People that don't understand, and again, like right now, it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, right? And the answer is always going to be the same. The marketing for this month is always going to be the same. What is the marketing, guys? Be more like women. Open up. Be vulnerable. Great. That doesn't help men. That doesn't help. And when I say vulnerable, yes, you be vulnerable. Vulnerable with your problem, like a field report. Hey, this is a problem I have. That's being vulnerable for a man. So once you get past that, now you can be like, hey, listen, um, I need a plan. That's why I say, what's your plan? That's a life-saving phrase. Because yes, we commiserate, we bitch and complain and all that stuff. But at the same time, someone needs to come forward and say, okay, let's come up with a plan. What is your problem? I want women and I'm not getting it. Okay, let me ask you this series of questions. Are you going to the gym regularly? Yes. What's your body fat percentage? 22. You're fat, dude. Okay, cool. So let's start fixing that. That doesn't mean stop talking to women altogether. It just means like, hey, let's step in that direction. Do you have to have a crazy workout plan? No, but we got to start looking at what you're eating. What are you eating? Well, I do this, and that, and I have coffee in the afternoon. Oh, you have coffee in the afternoon? Like what time? 5. How much? 3 cups. Oh, so you're not sleeping well. Okay, cool. Let's have coffee in the morning and not in the afternoon. Why do you have to have coffee in the afternoon? Well, it's because I have to pick up extra shifts. Why? Well, because I have debt. I'm like, oh, okay. And then you start pulling the string. You realize, like, dude, it's not that you were sad because you have no idea what you're doing. You have your rudder. And when I say rudderless, you haven't really put thought into the fact that, hey, maybe you are doing this to yourself. You have to take accountability. And when I say accountability, not like accountability like women, where we tell them don't be else. I'm like accountability, like, hey, dude, you have agency. You have That's the best part of being a man. We we have agency. We have things that um we can do to fix our problems, right? Women don't think like that. They just wait for someone else to do it, right? Very rarely do women step up and be like, I have a problem, let me fix it, you know. But that's your superpower as a man, and we're just trying to unlock it. That's all it is. We're just trying to unlock you, who you are, and it's not like your muscle. It's just your ability to look at a problem objectively, even if there's emotionality attached to it, and fix it. And it's usually a lot of the times guys don't like it when you reduce their problem to something simple, but it has to be done, and that's your feminine programming, right? If you're like complaining that women ain't shit or whatever, and you can't get women and the standards are too high, and I say, hey, when was the last time you said hello to a woman, like hello, or gave her a compliment, literally just talk to a person? And it's like, I don't remember the last time exactly, dude. So there you go. That's another problem. You are letting the internet make up your mind for you, right? The internet is not going to ever be as fulfilling as a, a a healthy sex life, or even an unhealthy sex life, right? The internet is not, no matter how much porn or opinions of how bad women are, none of that will ever replace a girl being like, you're nice and I like you and you have game. I want to suck on your balls. Like, no, there is nothing. Internet will never ever be able to do that, right? They will never be able to replace that feeling. And I want to tell you guys, just like how women go on the internet to like complain about a man and then they get hundreds if not millions of impressions and girls saying you go girl, none of that will ever replace, you know, a man with a big ass wide strong back picking her up and taking her up the stairs of their own house that he bought. None. They can complain and bitch all day, but there is no equivalent. That is why they're frustrated, right? That there is no equivalent for those things. No matter how black pill or white pill or whatever pill you are, there's only one, but whatever pill you are, right? Nothing can compare to the feeling of a woman laughing to your joke, right? Touching you, touching your hand, these real life experiences that kind of like make you realize what this is all for. And just like the expeditions before felt these victories, they were like, you know, we killed this monster and we're a little bit closer to getting to the paintress. We might die on the way, but you know that feeling of triumph. I want the next expedition to be able to blow past this monster and feel their own triumph, right? Not kick the ladder out under you. When Pat Sedman says, you know, if you're 40, and if you're 40, you can't have a family, right? That's a fuck you. That's a fuck you to men, and yet he still wants their money, right? What if you are 40? Telling men, "Hey, it's over for you," and you still want money, and you want like what? It's positive identity for men, right? How is it positive to tell a man that if by a certain age he hasn't had a family, he's screwed? Yeah, if you're 70, probably not a great idea because you won't be around. But if you're 40, I don't think it's horrible. I mean, maybe you know you did something that you dillied out a little bit, right? But if your dick still gets hard and you're making money, you can have a family. I don't understand what the issue is. Women don't all suddenly look at you and lose attraction, right? The women, like, it's again, it's that female thing where these content creators think that because one woman expresses on the internet, all women must think. But here's the thing: women have agency, and women like us for different things, for besides our looks and our money, or like they like us for multiple things or one thing or whatever. But you being 40, there isn't something where girls are just running for the hills. Yes, they'll have questions. Yes, they'll have to like make sure that your dick's still working and that you can perform in bed and that you're not, you know, you're not sick and frail, right? Like if you prove those things, which, you know, not that hard, you know, stay in shape, get some sleep, you know, make sure, you know, realize that you can't drink as much as you could when you were in your 20s, and you don't want to anyway. You know, you get better things to spend your time on than being hungover. Uh, so yeah, it's essentially like these guys kick the ladder out under them, like whole math the same, right? Hey, what should I like? Ryan quote tweeted like, "Hey," the guy's like, "Hey, I need to help you, man. I can help you." And then the guy responds with, "Help! I need help. What should I do?" And the whole math responds with, "I don't know. I'm gonna die in a ditch." Great. They're not here for you and to help you, right? They're here because they themselves have ego investments that they want to get proven, right? If you come up with some high IQ little mapping and of human behavior and what you should do in different planes of existence, but you yourself can apply it, the healthy mental models to be happy and content, then why would anyone follow you? And why do you demand money? And why do you keep doing what you're doing, right? It's like a drug dealer that all of a sudden, has no, I mean, that's not the best. It's like a maybe, I don't know, a guy that's like is against drugs and drug abuse, right? Like an advocate or a social worker, but then he reveals one day like, "Hey, I'm hooked on drugs myself because I couldn't handle life." Like, you're discredited. You should be discredited. Like, you help and counsel people through um this stuff to help them get off of it, but you yourself can't do it. Why would I listen to you? I feel like that would just, and all of this is just doomer content. And you're not, guys need a way out. Guys need to start, and I don't mean a way out like financially or physically, like a way out mentally, right? And we're constantly offering ways out for men, and they don't want to take it. Hey, when you see a TikTok of a crazy chick on the street saying "man ain't shit" or whatever, or "hawk to" or whatever, that's just women being drunk. When women are drunk and at the clubs, they're on their worst behavior. Of course, they're gonna act like that, but they don't mean that. That what a woman says is not the same as what a woman does. There's your out. You're free. You don't have to believe women being terrible on the internet for clout. You don't. If they say I have 100 body count at 23, you don't have to believe them. It's all for show and for attention. What did Wymore please say? Everything a woman does is performative, right? But guys are like, no, I want to be mad. You don't understand. And it's just like, that's their identity, being mad at women. And like, yes, you can be frustrated with them from time to time. We're normal, but that's your identity. You're wasting your life away for something that isn't even real. You've convinced yourself that a young 22-year-old woman that saying that men are stupid on the internet is your excuse to give up, or your excuse to be like, I can't control women, so let's get out of here. Like, you know how many levels of stupidity and just lack of knowledge about women, lack of knowledge about intersexual dynamics, lack of knowledge about red pill, whatever, that you have to get to that conclusion, right? Yes, of course, you're supposed to emotionally get you riled up, right? But think, right? Go on dates. Even if a woman doesn't like you that much, she'll be polite. Women hold open doors for you. Yes, not all of them will fuck you, and sometimes they put you through a lot just to have sex with them, right? But you don't need women to be perfect little angels. You need them to leave you alone if they don't like you, and you need them to, if they like you, just be on your program. And if she likes you, she most likely will, but you have to let her know that you have a program, right? Her being there and fucking you is not enough. You have to be like, hey, I don't like this, I don't like that. Early frame announcement, tell her, hey, this is how it's gonna go down, right? And when you don't have that, eventually you get bitter because you didn't tell the girl anything. You were just excited for her to be there. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, guys, this is what pisses me off. This is why it makes me mad. Because think of it. Think of it like this. We've all had a friend or ourselves where they were down and you were actually legit worried. Like, hey, like, especially in the military, I was legit worried about, I had to do S word watch for 24 hours on a guy, even follow him to the bathroom. Right. And I think for guys like, and he's doing fine now. Like, the guy is, he's here in Dallas. He's successful. I think he's still here. Smart guy. He was a little bit moody, but a guy that, like, he figured it out. He's happy. And we've had sushi in the past together and gone out and met up. And we were like, okay, he's good. Right. He made through. He wasn't in a good place. I don't know what it was. I'm not a mental health professional, right? But he got through. But I think in that moment, if I would have taken advice from these guys that, that gave him advice, life advice, or whatever they think they give, and given it to him, would have helped him. Think about it like that. And I'm like, probably not. Imagine you're like, wow, this course he gave me is awesome. And then he posts about how horrible life is and he can't make it and he's sad and all that stuff. And I'm like, you just destroyed everyone that follows you. Because part of your brand of being a self-help person or a guy that has the key and the answers is that you have to be happy yourself, or at least content, or at least when you have a problem, deal with it, right? Like if you have if you're a self-help bro and you all of a sudden, God forbid, get cancer, right? And you give up and you say, hey, I don't care anymore, like life doesn't have a meaning, I'm sad, right? People are gonna stick around, but they want to see you win because are the guy with the answers. But they don't. They always do something dumb, they screw it up. And yes, that's why you, as a guy, if you want to make content or you want to share notes, early frame announcement. What did I say in the beginning? I'm not a good person. I'm not a good man. And people were like, stop saying that. Don't say that. You are a good man. I'm like, no, I I'm not. I'm not a good person. Well, why do you say that? Well, it's because it's an early frame announcement. It's me freeing you from like, I have to be a good person to share correct information or useful information. I may be a good person. I may be awesome in person. I may like help you move. I may like be your best man at the wedding. I may be, bail you out of jail if you knew me personally. You don't know that. I could do the opposite. I could bang your girlfriend or let you rot in jail for a couple days because I don't like you or because I betrayed you or whatever. I could be horrible. You don't know me. And that's not the point. It's not about me. It's about, is this information useful? It's to absolve me from this thing that people on the internet who share about men solving the problems have to be good people, right? Because even if you look, some of the worst people in history kind of showed us useful things, right? Depending on your perspective, maybe politically you think they're bad, but there's some things that they did that you're just like, yep, that worked, so I'll do it. You know, whether it be a sleazy PUA, a political leader or something, they did things that were not cool, but it was useful, right? How many experiments have been done on the human body in the name of evil, but then we use that information for medical purposes now? It's the same thing, right? Now, I'll let people decide what I am, but I'm just like, hey, dude, I'm not. You're not going to like box me in and try to use morality against me because this is not. Redpill is amoral, right? The guy that has the key for you to getting laid or getting a second date could be a sack of shit. Now, is there extremes? Yeah. If the guy's like a criminal, like legit, like diddles kids or something like that, yeah, that guy probably should be in jail and not sharing notes on the internet. But other than that, if it's a guy that's a heartless player that's playing women left and right and shitting all over their dreams and hopes of having a normal boyfriend and stuff like that, normal love life, yeah, I'm gonna be like, yeah, it's kind of, but like those are the types that sometimes bring us the best stuff, right? Because they don't have the morality tied to their identity. They're just like, I just do what I want. Cool. And the same thing, and that's how a lot of red pill was made. Who is Women are incredibly selfish and solipsistic, right? So what did we do? We applied women's sensibility or women's strategy to male sensibilities, meaning that girls are inherently like uh, girls are inherently solipsistic. That means they put themselves first, or at least they always look at how they fit into this puzzle, and then they step back and they're just like, "Yep, uh, it's all about me." Or they talk about themselves, they insert themselves and everything. And men just said, "Hey, what if we took that and used it for our own strategy?" So it's like, "Hey, I'm going to put myself first. I'm going to think about how uh, I fit in this puzzle that people are talking about, or I'm going to think about myself and what it has to do with me." And it works. Who knew that being selfish was such a hit with the ladies, right? And the guys on the internet, the morality guys, they're just like, like recently Roman Helmet guy, which I like his stuff, but I guess rent's due, and he has to appeal to the female crowd and all that. Um, but but the truth is here about guys like that like want to call out the red pill and call out all that stuff. right, is that they're coming from a moral lens. They're saying like, "Oh, men talk about women's accountability or whatever," but they're not. Uh, they're talking about men or women being accountable, but do they hold themselves accountable? They're always acting like women. I'm like, yeah. I don't know about the female accountability part, but yeah, exactly. See how bad you were? I'm like, what? What's bad? I don't get it. Well, it's you got to be like a man. What's a man? Oh, it's exactly. It's whatever is beneficial towards women. There you go. First lesson. You think that me being what women need in that moment is being a man. There you go. There's your first fallacy. That's a depressing way to live as a man, right? So we just took the strategy that women use and adapted it to our sensibilities. So if a woman is like, "Hey, uh, you know, I'm going to do this," we say, "Okay, women do this and it seems to work out for them. Let's try it. Oh, look, it worked. It's perfect. Now we're getting paid better at work and we're getting laid. Our wives are having sex with us again. Thanks, ladies. And frame. Like we learned about frame. Women are frame masters and men are frame children. That article by Archwinger. So we take all this stuff and we just use it for ourselves. And the guys that like think that like wear masculinity as a skin suit or try to explain masculinity to us are just like, that's irreprehensible. Why? Because you're acting like a woman. I'm like, well, what is a man then? A man, exact. And then it's still like the loop. They just can't understand that what makes a man is not um, really his honor and all that stuff. Like on a biological level, it's that he solves problems. A man that does not solve problems is not seen as useful, and therefore, yeah, just and as long as this battle goes on, there's always going to be guys that want to appeal to women, that want to appeal to the to to get a bigger audience because social media money is not stable, right? So what was yesterday? Rent was due yesterday, and um, a lot of people. The timeline was rife with people and opinions and crazy stuff. You know why? Because rent's due. These guys don't really care about masculinity or don't really care. They want more money. And more than money, they want stability. Social media is not stable. It'll pay you a lot one month and pay you fuck all the next month, even if you put the same amount of numbers or more, right? So when you see this anxiety about content creators tripping over themselves to make things happen, and they go out of their way to attack or try to like gain followers based on an opinion that's very safe and very pro woman, it's because they have a certain lifestyle to maintain. They probably made it big as an influencer. The roof, the lights have to be kept on. You have to pay more to be alive or to enjoy the things you want to enjoy. So things have to happen, right? Us with jobs, we're lucky. They have the freedom, but at least I know that if I get a raise next year, my cost of my standard of living can go up, and I know where I stand. Whereas if I make content, one month I'll make 5K, the next month I make 1K, and it's just like, what does my standard of life have to be? You don't know. I don't know. Who the hell knows? There's ways around it, but really, you just, I think the only person that's figured it out fully is Cappy. He's so good with money that he doesn't have to worry about like the how unstable being paid off. The internet is. So yeah. So guys, any questions or anything that you want to ask me, please do. Super chats, if you guys want to leave me super chats, if you have anything you want me to go over again. But that's basically where why this game, the message is, very important. And I know everyone's glazing this game, but I played it. I'm going to play it. I'm going to finish it and move on. Right? Everyone's obsessed with this game because the gaming industry just isn't putting out what gamers want. Apparently, I don't know. But the truth is that I kind of look at the message when it's a story heavy game. I look at the message, overall theme, and all that. And I could extrapolate almost anything from a game or an anime or a show and extrapolate the theme and what it's trying to tell us. And if there's no theme, then it's not a good story. There has to be some kind of overarching thing. Whether a game be like Final Fantasy Rebirth, where it's about identity, um, and destiny. Can you change the future? Can you change the past? Um, or Expedition 33, where it's about hope and like setting up, the next expedition for success. And obviously, there's more things like grief and all that. But I can extract anything from a story and, probably tie it to the red pill or some kind of self development I did. But yeah, guys, that's just the way it is. Life is going to constantly uh, test you, and you're going to uh, be boxed into into morality because that's a weapon. Be a better man, but no one tells you what a better man is besides what's convenient for women, and that's not fair. And yes, there may be parts of being a man that you enjoy that are convenient to women, but there's going to be parts of being a man that you do enjoy that women will hate or dislike or find inconvenient. And it isn't one or the other, right? Like women don't like when men sometimes check them out or approach them in a certain way, right? But that same hormone that makes us horny and check you out and stare at your tits is the same hormone that's gonna cause us to jump in a burning building to save you or like fight an attacker. You can't have one or the other. And it's crazy that women are 30, 35, and they still need this explained to them. It's like, how long have you been in this days where you are like, you don't understand when you have fathers, you have brothers, you have male friends. Do you just not observe and been like, do you see? And that's the thing here. They see them as defective women. Like, if they were only more like us, I'm like, no, they're normal. They're absolutely doing what they're supposed to. Men are supposed to check you out. Men are supposed to, like, sometimes maybe drool a little bit when they see a hot lady in the street. Men are supposed to be asking you out, pursue you, right? Men are supposed to be kind of annoyed that you stuck around after sex. That's who we are. That's our biology. I don't have sex with a girl, or in the past I haven't had sex with a girl and then be like, "Oh, I'm so glad she's still here." And I thought, man, it's just men being bad. Like, no, in our biology, we literally want after sex either want to fall asleep or go do something else, move on with our day, and that's biological, right? Having sex in the caveman days was, you were vulnerable, right? Your booty cheeks out, your mind only is focusing on sex. You're not watching your surroundings. So as soon as the sex is over, you look around. I'm like, where am I? What have I done? It's almost like you're sobering up, and you have to get out of there. You have to be like, hey, girl, like I got to get out of here because death and all that. So and then you go do something else. You go back to being productive instantly. So women, if they want to exist in this world and be happy, which most of them don't, but for the women that are interested, right? It's not about you being more submissive or you being more this or more that, or just repeating back what we want to hear, because that's, some men will fall for it, but the men that worth a shit won't. It's simply about understanding, men, that we're not you, that we're not defective versions of you, that we are different. Our brain chemistry is different. That we're gonna you're gonna have things about us that suck that you're not gonna be able to accept right away. But there's gonna be things about us that you're absolutely admire us for. That you're just gonna be like, wow, men are amazing. And that's the thing. I didn't choose to be this way. I was born this way, Like I didn't choose to want to like uh lift weights. It's like I like being strong. Like it makes me feel incredibly good. It feels amazing to go to the gym and lift weights and then come back home with my whole body tired and that feeling of calm knowing that I did some kind of labor, right? I feel good. I feel good that I feel good when I protect people or I watch out for people, right? But I feel good when I go out and I see a girl with a nice ass and I stare. That's part of the deal. And ladies, how I know usually how a relationship's going to go in terms of maturity, right, is that the more women accepts male nature, both the convenient and inconvenient parts, the more successful she'll be in that relationship. Because instead of everything being a fight, 50% of the fights are gone. Hey, you were checking out another girl. Instead of a fight, it's like, oh, he's just a man. Hey, your man, you overheard your boys talking and it made you feel uncomfortable. I'm like, well, that's how men communicate. Men communicate directly and they're sometimes mean to each other, right? And grown women, all the way up probably into their late 30s, 40s, still can accept that how men are men. And that makes them miserable. And then they blame us, like, why can't you be more like me? And I'm like, I'm not. Sorry, Ubisoft. Like, yeah, I know it's Mental Health Awareness Month, but really it's Men Need a Plan Month. That's what it is. So, yeah. All right, guys. Anyway, I'm gonna head to the gym, try to take advantage of the day. Thank you guys for listening to me, and um, I'll play the clip one more time, and I'll head out of here. So, talk to you guys later.